first of all, for me, it's a little bit difficult to express myself in English language, but I'll try to do my best. In any case, I apologize for that in advance, but I tried to do my best. Well, my name is David. I'm a post-production manager from Salvados. What is Salvados? Salvados is a news show hosted by Jordi Évole, one of the most influential journalists in Spain. The show airs on Sunday nights on a national network, broadcast network, La Sexta, from A3 Media Group. And at the first, the program was a mixture of daring and ironic reports, which took reality with a touch of humor, with the target of entertaining. And the show was an immediate hit. Through 10 years it's been on air, the show has gradually left its comedic tone and started focusing on news, recent or ongoing events, appealing to a wider audience. Right now, as you can see, 3 million people watch the show every Sunday night, and it's the biggest hit on the channel. As the result of these changes, the show has managed to get famous people, such as presidents of governments from all around the world, former politicians who were facing several accusations of corruption, international political and social celebrities like Julian Assange, Varoufakis, Hervé Falciani, Roberto Saviano. And, well, let's take a view of the video.
Señor Pablo Crespo, ¿es usted un corruptor?
No, en absoluto.
¿La industria farmacéutica se inventa enfermedades? Señor Assange, ¿cómo deberían gestionar los estados la información que tienen para que Wikileaks no hiciese falta que existiese?
I'm thinking about the answer.
¿No hubo juicio del accidente del metro de Valencia?
No hubo juicio.
¿Tú te has encontrado con personas que se hayan sentido coaccionadas?
Sí.
Señor Juan, no tiene nada que decirle a las víctimas. Señor Falciani, ¿usted es un héroe o un ladrón? ¿Tiene que seguir en prisión a Arnaldo Otegi?
Léame los ojos.
En Finlandia, ¿qué porcentaje de escuelas públicas hay?
98%.
¿Creéis que vais a cobrar la pensión?
Yo estoy convencida que no.
¿Cuánto dinero tenías en preferentes?
Mucho.
¿No tendría que haber habido una autoridad que hubiese dicho no se sigue comercializando esto? ¿Cómo es que usted indultó a Jesús Gil?
No tengo ni idea.
Que me estoy dando cuenta que me quiere llevar al huerto y ese huerto no me gusta. Y le explico.
Hombre,
No sé.
¿cómo puede pensar
Pues
eso?
No, hombre.
A veces me enredas, Pablo, y no me contestas. Yo no sé si tú tienes algún tipo de temor de decir, oye, igual esto lo tenemos que rebajar de cara a las generales. ¿Pone usted la mano en el fuego por el señor Rajoy?
Esto de la mano en el fuego es una pregunta trampa, ¿sabes? Entonces,
Es una pregunta. ¿El único problema para no haber hecho carrera militar es no haberte dejado meter mano?
Sí, claro.
¿Tú me sabrías decir el nombre de las personas a las que mataste? ¿Usted cuántos años lleva aquí en Melilla?
Yo llevo 4 años aquí.
Y cuando ve una situación así, ¿qué piensa?
Pienso que esto es una pena.
¿Usted manda menos que un banquero en Grecia? ¿Usted ha podido cumplir su programa?
No.
Escuchar a un presidente del gobierno diciendo fracasé empieza a ser una cosa tan rara.
Well, what does represent Salvados in Spanish television, in the Spanish society? One of the most notable episodes from Salvados was about Valencia's subway derailment from 2006. 43 people died. The show uncovered several irregularities around the incident and manipulation from the government of the news about it. The episode reached more than 3 million people and originated public mobilizations that led to a reopening the investigations. And right now, some guilty people are in jail as a result of this episode. But probably the most incredible success for our team was Operación Palas, Palas Operation, a fake documentary about attempted coup of February 23rd in Spain in 1981. This experiment broke all Vivan records. Near 6 million people watched the show and caused a huge stir on all statements of society. Salvados was used to be edited in Final Cut Pro 7, but it became clear that this NLE wouldn't get anymore. And as a post-production manager of the show, I started looking at different options. Before I'm making a decision, I would like to keep an objective opinion about what NLE would be the best option for editing our program. I considered the classic Avid Media Composer. I tested carefully DaVinci Resolve as an editor, and obviously Premiere CC. But I definitely decided to go with Final Cut Pro 10. By that time, we were working on our first documentary of big screen documentary, cinema documentary, named Astral, about about drama refugee trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea in search of Europe, of a future here in Europe. And I thought it was time for us to use Final Cut Pro 10. And this was our first experience with it. Let's take a...
Dessus. Tu vois, il est. It's too high. No food. No water. So you came to our rescue.
Somos socorristas y fuimos a Lesbos y vimos muchos naufragios. Debíamos tener un barco para estar en medio del mar.
Y no sé por qué dije yo, madre mía, yo tengo un barco que no uso, imagínate si ellos lo pudieran aprovechar.
Si encargamos refugiados, la tripulación se tendrá que confinar aquí. Lujos cero, fuera.
Ayer llovió como si embarcáramos una ola y ahora el barco tiene que funcionar por cojones. Y no funciona.
Aquí el Astral, ¿me recibes cambio?
¿A dónde?
Sí, la situación son 2 dinghies aparentemente muertas. En total unas 400 personas.
Es heroico, es muy bestia.
Los mismos que Lesbos.
I went through hell. How peaceful.
Well, as I said before, this was our first experience with Final Cut Pro 10. Why Final Cut Pro 10? It's simple. Because it's cheaper, it's easy to use, it's intuitive, and for me, for my experience, it's like 100,000 times faster, for sure. Final Cut has some unique tools that speed our editing and our delivery process. In fact, I'm clear that I would have been able to do one of our biggest, latest episodes, a 60-minute program that was recorded in the morning at 9 a.m. and had to be on air by 3 p.m. And it was edited in a hotel room near the set of the interview. We were running against the clock. So we used a simple setup, and we had to watch it, we had to cut it down, we had to switch the angles, turn over the sound in 3 hours. It was a challenge for us. And we worked with Canon C300 Mark IIs, and the first thing that I do to cover our backs was transcode all the footage to make sure that nothing would fail. Everyone knows that native ABC Intra is a problematic codec for editing, and I'm very comfortable working with ProRes codec. In fact, I am a big fan of all ProRes family. It was more than 1 hour and a half of continuous recording with 3 cameras. But I thought, well, it wouldn't hurt to spend some time making proxies, better safe than sorry in that situation. And it was amazing. It was amazing to hit the play in the hotel room with the director, with the writers, and edit while we're watching the show. We're watching, switching angles on the fly, even trimming on the fly, without stopping. With another NLE, probably we have to stop to make the changes. And as I said before, it was an amazing experience. There was another little thing that helped us in that case. I'm sure most people here know about it. But well, for grading, we normally use we normally send all material from Final Cut Pro 10 to DaVinci Resolve. The communication between them, as we can see, is awesome. It's fantastic. But in this case, we couldn't. We have no time. We have no DaVinci Resolve. Our colorist is a French man who was spending the weekend in Paris. And I thought, well, we could work like this. As soon as I get the footage, I'll send you a self-contained library with a sample of each angle, and using WeTransfer or something like that. And you send me back the self-contained library, graded with the tools, with the color tools of Final Cut Pro 10. And then I just have to copy and paste the color attributes in each angle of multicam inside the angle editor. And it's incredible. The whole program graded without rendering. And it was 1 p.m. and we're finished while maintaining our high standards of quality. If you think about it, it's crazy. For me, it's crazy. Well, my favorite Final Cut Pro 10 features. There are some specific tools in Final Cut Pro 10 that would benefit from. We use several types of custom smart collections that help us automate the organization process and allow us to filter and find the media very quickly, like no other NLE can. For example, we use a smart collection for all motion graphics. With the filter, text includes GFX. Every file generated by Motion or by After Effects or something like that has the word GFX includes in its name. Using this filter, the motion graphics automatically are organized in Final Cut Pro 10 library right after the import. We use a similar trick with audio mix coming from Pro Tools. With the filter, text includes MIX mix, and once again, automatically organized. Another useful smart collections that we use is filtering by type. Filtering by type is multicam, filtering by type is synchronized, and these smart collections help us separate multicam and synchronized clips from raw video and audio clips. Another useful tool that we work extensively is our keywords and favorites, because they help us find the right clip in seconds, and we don't waste our time searching between hundreds of clips in a bin or scrubbing through a long select sequences. Keywords and favorites help us immensely, for example, to build the promos for the week's episode, for example. Salvados, the interviews in a show like Salvados, the interviews are really, really long. The edited segment is only 7, 5, 10, 2 minutes long. But we go through about 90 minutes of content, sometimes over 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of content. Adding markers and notes, for example, help us immensely to differentiate what is essential and what is not. We add markers on the fly, and it would be great if we can, for example, add comments during playback. Unfortunately, we have to stop for that, for do that. In the timeline index, we can see all the markers at a glimpse without navigating such a long timeline. And when we want to watch a little bit portion of content, we just right-click on the marker and instantly jump to it. For us, is fantastic. It's awesome. It would be great if we can extend the duration of the markers, like in Final Cut Pro 7, to highlight the segments in the timeline. For me, it's very useful. The way I do it now in Final Cut Pro 10 is using chapter markers, because we can extend. Another thing that I use extensively in Salvados are auditions, particularly for transitions or introductions. Having multiple picks hidden inside a single shot help us immensely to find the best shot, the best option very quickly, in seconds. In another analysis, you have to create new video tracks for different takes, turn on, turn off, deal manually with the duration changes, which is, for me, for us in Salvados, is a tedious process. And the editions help us. There are so many another powerful tools in Final Cut Pro 10, and most people here know about it. But we are currently considering to implement third-party apps, like, for example, Lumberjack, that take an advantage of on a unique metadata capabilities of Final Cut Pro 10, for example. But in the future. Well, our collaborative workflow, the complicated question. We use Final Cut Pro 10 in a phased environment. So I tried to keep things simple and avoid complicated workflows. Our collaborative workflow is pretty straightforward. We have a master library, which we use as a template. For each sequence of the episode, the editors duplicate and rename the master library and start working. Easy. Certainly, we could ask for better collaboration in Final Cut Pro 10, and hopefully that will be addressed in the future. Don't know. And also, in terms of performance, the collaborative workflow is very demanding for the software. And especially when you work with a team of 7 editors and complex multicam projects with 5, 4, 6 angles. And most servers have difficulties dealing with that. And that's why I call LumaForge for running some tests at our facilities. We right now have 24-bay QNAP. And the result hasn't been great after all. And with the LumaForge system, we noticed a better performance. That's why we are switching to implement LumaForge system in the future. I can't wait to put it on a test in Salvados. And hopefully it will allow us to focus more on our projects and instead of so much troubleshooting or figuring out workarounds. And that's all. Many thanks for letting me speak to you today.